So, the news we were expecting to come in this reset has come, in fact, and also a little bit more. Because what we were expecting, as we pointed out a few days ago, were the incoming supposed nerfs to Fyrakk, especially the Mythic version of Fyrakk. Why were we expecting these changes? Well, that's because the Hall of Fame is now closed, is closing officially this reset, and usually it's tradition from Blizzard to nerf the last boss of the raid once Hall of Fame is closed. And this happened. The leaks, the predictions on the nerfs were a little bit off compared to what actually ended up happening to the nerfs of Fyrakk. You do have 3 blazes coming out throughout the fight instead of 4 each time, meaning slightly less damage, of course, but also less requirements for dispelling the blazes every time they go out. The HP of the boss is not the rumored 5% nerf, but instead it's now a 10% HP nerf to the boss. Phase 2 also gets some help in being made easier, where the Dark and the Burning Colossi health is reduced by 10% in Mythic difficulty, which is not just good to kill them faster, but it's also good because now you have the DPS players will have more time to do even more damage to the boss. They won't have to spend nearly as much damage damaging ads. The Spirits of the Kaldorai and the Darnassian Ancient, so the NPCs that have to be healed by the healers, have their HP reduced by 20% in Mythic difficulty, so you get to top them up faster. Also, to make P2 easier, the Heart of Yggdrasil now begins the stage 2 with 60% health remaining, when I believe it was 40% before this change. So it's now even easier. You have even more protection if you fail to move past the enemy NPCs, the Spirits of the Kalderai. If you turn some of them into hostile NPCs, if you mess up the transition and you don't get them to reach the heart, it's not nearly as bad as it was before after these nerfs. You also now likely will not need any more shenanigans with Leaps of Fates and having to try to drag those NPCs towards the heart faster because your heart is in danger of dying out. Now it's going to be much more manageable. And lastly, the help of P3 is that the corrupted seeds popping up are going to be reduced from 2 to 1. Also, of course, the help of P3 comes in the fact that you have the Fyrakk's HP reduced by 10%, which is going to make Phase 3 easier, of course, because it's shorter. Also, because the ads in P2 have reduced HP, the DPS will have more time to damage Fyrakk in P2, which means you will be able to enter P3 with Fyrakk at lower HP, even more so than before. So you can expect P3 to end and essentially allow you to skip more rounds of blazes and more rounds of roars, which were, generally speaking, the hardest part of P3, because every time those go out, you risk dying due to seed and corrupted seeds management of your players. So with these changes, it should make it even easier. It should require you even fewer players to have responsibility of handling and carrying the seeds in P3. Now, probably with just 4 players handling the seeds should be enough for you to finish the boss before you have to worry about any more. So all in all, it's a pretty good set of nerfs for this boss, also considering that the progression of the last boss has been quite tough right now. As mentioned, we made the comparison a few days ago. The kill count of Fyrakk at the moment is significantly lower than Sarkaret. It's about 1/3 of the boss kills of Sarkaret in Aberus in the same time frame, in about 3 months of a tier. And then compared to also Raszageth, which was still a very hard boss, it's killed half as much as Raszageth in the same time frame. So these nerfs will try to speed up the kill ratio of this last boss in Yggdrasil. Now, the other bit of news that came out with Blizzard's announcement of this reset is the one about patch 10.2.6. Is the one that we saw in the 2024 roadmap for WoW, which had this curious skull, pirate skull icon, and not much else. We didn't really know much of anything. We had the expectation of having Season 4 come out somewhere in April, and 10.2.6 was supposedly coming out at the very end of winter or at the very beginning of spring. And the announcement itself points out that for patch 10.2.6 of Dragonflight, we created what we think is a unique event inspired by past musings from the community. We can say that it is open to anyone with a WoW subscription if they want to participate, but that's all we're going to say. Our goal is to continue to keep it secret and keep it safe. The speculation is great. We watched the reaction to the surprises in Season of Discovery and thought we would try a similar but different approach for Dragonflight. What this means, by the way, is that there will be no PTR, no testing, no preview of what this patch will bring. We can say it's gonna come in March, and that after 10.2.6 launches, we will make Season 4 available for testing on the PTR before it goes live. But for the patch itself, for 10.2.6, we are going to be keeping everything a secret until patch day. So you will be logging in on patch day without having any idea of what is actually happening. Take it as a surprise, basically. Obviously, it seems like they will still follow the normal release schedules of different regions, so likely EU players can get spoiled by NA players who will get to log in the patch earlier. But, if you avoid reading or watching anything WoW related for a few hours, if you are in EU, you will also get to log in on patch day without actually knowing much of anything about the patch. Pretty interesting social experiment, given of course that this is a mid-season, rather minor patch. So of course we're not hiding major raid bosses, we're not hiding dungeons or major player mechanics that we have to discover all of a sudden in the patch. It's a tiny mid-season patch with some special event coming out that likely won't really impact players massively. It won't be some crucial part of the game, so it's not really gonna hurt you if you're not very prepared about what's to come and you just discover it the moment you log in the game. Obviously, of course, as is tradition with the WoW community, I've already seen players complaining about this because they're pointing out that, oh, I bet the release is going to be super buggy, super broken because players did not test it in the PTR. Well, considering the fact that players still complain about the releases being buggy or broken even after several rounds of PTR testing by players, I don't think this would change anyways, even if you keep this close to the public. As mentioned, there is likely not going to be nearly as much to be testing in the PTR, especially because likely we won't even have to be testing any balance related things. No new buffs or nerfs, no new reworks, no new tier sets to be released or anything of the sort, so there is even less stuff that you need to go through with testing in the patch. We will see, of course, how will this develop now that we have this timeline added officially in the game. 10.2.6 will come out in March. Of course, we don't exactly know which type of March. Start of March, end of March, middle of March. If we have to believe the roadmap they released to the letter, then 10.2.6 would have to be out before the beginning of spring. So something like the 10th or the 15th of March, for example. And then Season 4 coming out 1 month later into spring. But for now, these are all the news assembled on this 12th reset of Season 3 in this patch 10.2.5. So, keeping secret what's gonna come in 10.2.6 and leaving it all up to speculation, we are now going to leave each other on this Wednesday. I'm curious to see your guys' comments on what do you think actually this event is going to be in this new patch. What is it gonna entail in terms of activities added in the game? And that is the question I'm going to be leaving you with for today. Thanks, of course, as usual, to all of the Patreon supporters for the contribution and the help, which, as always, can be given for free. To help with the devious YouTube algorithm, you can like and comment down below, as well as subscribe to the channel itself. Now, with these pointless things out of the way, thank you guys again for watching. See you guys tomorrow, and in the meantime, there is a flock of birds screeching outside of my windows for the past 15 minutes. I don't know what they are screeching at, to be honest, but it's quite annoying.